Many times in this life, people are going to think that life is a cakewalk and that, it's not going to be too hard. All you have to do is just roll the dice. But I don't know if you guys have ever played the game Shoots and Ladders. But if you haven't, it's a game where you have to roll some dice and you move your piece however many spaces on the board that you get when you roll the dice. And there's 100 spaces usually on this game. And depending on where you land, there are going to be certain places where you can climb up a ladder, where you can actually get to, let's say if you're on space 23 or 24, you can get to like space 30 or 32. And then there's chutes, which are basically like slides, where if you're on space 52, you get shot down to 27 or something like that. And so a lot of the times people think that's how life works. It's a game of chance. You just roll the dice and you move how many spaces, and then the universe gets to decide where you actually go. And to one degree, that's kind of true, but to the other degree, it's more about strategy. And life is more like a game of chess, and it is more like a game of risk than it is of any kind of like checkers or shoots and ladders in this case. And if anybody has never played the game Risk, the game Risk is a world domination game where you have to fight countries to countries, and there's a lot of strategy involved. And yes, there's a degree of chance, but I would say 70% of it is strategy. And that's basically how life works. There's a great quote that says that people that are in life don't realize that experience is the test and life is the test. And before the lesson in life comes the test. Something like that. And so a lot of the times the people that you deal with or the things that you're going through in your life are going to be obstacles to a better life. I know for a fact that whenever I was around certain kind of people, it was almost as if I was blocked certain blessings because I would choose to stay around these individuals. And God was giving me an open door over here, but I would have to get rid of the people over there in order to get here. And so what I did was, I tried to cheat. I tried to have my cake and eat it too. I tried to have the cakewalk. I tried to roll the dice and get on that ladder so I can just climb up the ladder. And instead, what I did was I slid down. And because that's not how reality works. Reality doesn't work like that. And when you live in the illusionary, in the elusive world, you live in the game of shoots and ladders. You don't live in the game of chess. You don't live in the game of Risk, where you have the power to save yourself from yourself, and you have the power to save other people from themselves just by speaking certain words into existence. And for this reason, some people are going to regret not having you around when they don't have you around. They're going to regret that they treated you a certain way. And you know what? To be honest, which I usually always try to be, I try to be truthful anyway, because I consider being truthful and being honest somewhat similar but somewhat different. Being truthful is choosing words carefully, but to be truthful, it makes me glad to see when somebody did me dirty and did me wrong. It makes me glad to see that God's vengeance is being worked on in their life. And this is not out of malice on my end. It's just that it's nice to see karma play out. And it's nice to know karma can really bite back to the people that bite hard and people that use their tongue for lies and deceit. Because, as a sage once said, truth is a revelation, not an imagination. You can't imagine the truth. Now, you can imagine things that you want to have happen, and then you can reorganize your routines in life to meet that standard that you want to see and you have envisioned in your mind. But the revelations come when you actually put in the work. And so a lot of the times you're going to have to do things that are really hard and that are tough, because in life, this life is tough, and life will hit you harder and give you the lesson before the story ends. And right when you get the lesson, that's also conveniently when the story seems to end sometimes. But not in this video. I'm not done here yet, you know. I was watching a video of a lioness hunting the other day. And I was just watching because I was curious on how lions hunt. I wanted to know more about why lions hunt the way they do and how they do it. And it was amazing that they were watching and hunting this antelope. And the antelope, at least I think it was an antelope, was running along, and it was with its mom. So it was a baby antelope. But then out of nowhere, the lioness shows up. The mom bolts in the other direction, and the baby is left to go in the other direction. And so the baby starts to stumble after a couple seconds. And you can hear the squeal of despair and agony when it realizes that it makes a mistake. And this is why experience won't give you the life and test before any kind of lesson does. You know, this is not like school, like we're used to, where we're used to being given the lessons and then the test. Mother Nature can be a brutal, brutal place. And so the baby antelope doesn't escape with its life. It's taken by the lioness. And you can hear the wailing of the baby and the twitching of it, and you can see the twitching of its body. And it's hard to watch, but at the same time, it's magnificent because it's just like the raw power of the lioness as she pounces on this baby antelope from like out of nowhere. Like the poor baby antelope within seconds went from gliding along with mama, you know, in the beautiful savannah, to looking into the abyss and not seeing anything too pretty for itself. That's wild. Like, that is truly wild. And so sometimes in life, you're going to be given the lesson after the experience, more often than not. And so what exactly is the lesson of the lioness and the baby antelope? It's that youth is no guarantee of future life. And the hunter that chooses carefully the prey, because the hunter could have gone after the mom, right? But the hunter didn't. The hunter went after the one that was less fortunate in the situation. And this is why, if you believe yourself to be a victim of your own situation, you absolutely will be exploited by those that seek to take your life force for their own, spiritually and emotionally. So watch out for the hunters and the emotional vampires. Trust that what you're doing is enough right now so that you can stand in the best days of your life down the road, or even right now, if your best days of your life are now. I know my best days are yet to come. That doesn't mean I'm still living the most quality life that I can right now. I am. And I'm very pleased to say that, because I would not have been able to say that a few years ago. But that is the nature of the situation. That is the nature of life, is that you do have to make somewhat of a bargain with the future in the hopes that you don't sacrifice for nothing. But that's part of the sacrifice. And even though I'm still young, I'm seeing the finitudes of this life ever so more clearly each day. Even when I go outside, it's like I'm living in HD. I'm seeing God's creation, and I'm seeing the beauty of the Creator more and more each day. I'm seeing the truth of the Creator more and more each day. It's like the more I stay obedient to His laws, the more He blesses me. And the more I stay in the truth and I speak truthfully, again, not always honestly, because sometimes if you want to be honest about certain things, it might cause more trouble than it's worth. So it's better to be truthful. Because sometimes you can really hate somebody. And, you know, I really don't hate anybody. There's some people that I really don't like. And there are some things about society that I really don't like. But for the most part, I really don't hate anybody. But there are a few that I really think are clowns, and that I would love nothing more than for them to be the hunted for once rather than the hunter. And the only reason that they're a hunter is because they put on the mask of a lion, but behind the mask, they're just a hyena. A real lion doesn't need to wear a mask. And a real lion knows that the hunt is just as important as the actual eating of the meal, the actual reward. And so that's what I want to encourage you all today, is that whatever you're hunting for in life, whatever obstacles that you're going through, whether it's with people, whether it's with things, whether it's financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is, whatever you're hunting for, remember that the hunt is just as important as the actual reward that you are going to get when you eat that meal that you so long for. And so with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.